that thing is gonna look crazy. So y'all forgive me, but yeah, I got two of these things right next to each other. This one is trying to fall over, but I'm not. What up, Chris, Bobo, Brian, John, Jesus? I'm not gonna be on here long, Jose. I put up a post, and this is one of the things, it bothers me. That's the only reason why I'm on here tonight, because I actually need to be getting ready for the gym. But we're going to talk about this some on tomorrow night's show, actually. And the reason that this thing bothers me is, that's why I label this propaganda. I'm not patting myself on the back in any way. But I'm going to tell y'all, I know who is responsible for making the rules for this breed. I know who is there. I know what the rules were. I know what the intentions for the rules were, you know. And it amazes me all the time to see these guys come on here and, oh, I know they started with some bulldogs. The intentions were bulldogs. This was bulldog. Let me explain this to you. At no point in time was this dog ever meant to be a bulldog. At no point in time. I can point to some of the specifics. And some of the specifics with this breed that you can look to see where we actually put in things to stop this breed from being a bulldog were certain traits. And if you look at it in the description, you'll see that. The reason why you say no round eyes is because round eyes is a bulldog trait. That's why it was put in the standard that we should never have dogs with round eyes. Our dogs are supposed to have a certain level of drive because the origins is a pit bull staffy. This is why that is in there. The tight skin, which you also see in the standard. If you are not an idiot, you would know that a bulldog does not have tight skin. The reason there is no high rear is because a bulldog has a high rear. This is why these were major issues that we addressed in the standard. This is why the standard specifically says that the dog comes from pit bull staffy, no other breeds. This is what the dog is supposed to be. You know, other traits, you know, are the feet. If you look at the way that the feet are described, a tighter foot, no easty westy. That once again eliminates the bulldog. The tail, which recently in the ABKC they switched the tail from being a disqualification, but the tail was always a disqualification if you had a bad tail. These are all the barrel rib cage is something that someone made up, you know. The well sprung rib cage is actually for the pit bull terrier. That was supposed to be for the pit bull terrier, and for some reason people put that in. But a lot of the people with the whole barrel rib cage thing, it became an excuse for overweight dogs. That's what it was. This dog was supposed to be an enhancement of the American pit bull terrier. I see a lot of things about these dogs were mixed. I'm gonna tell y'all, and this is the truth. A lot of people come on these things and they weren't around. They're newbies for the most part. Even if they do have, you know, even if they've been around 5 years, they're still new. So when they say things like all of the dogs were mixed and this, that, and the other, they're full of shit. First of all, I'll tell you this. What some people don't know, Cairo was a UKC winner. He was not a mixed breed dog. He just got too big for his breed. He was just too big. A lot of the early dogs showed in the UKC under American Pit Bull Terrier, and they won. Several of the dogs, and Gary from Premier Kennels can attest to that because he showed AKC. Several of the original stock dogs were AKC dogs. What happened, though, is throughout the process of some of us who didn't care to cheat the game, doing it the right way, dogs just got too big for those standards. That's why they didn't want us to show over there. It was never any, and we stuck with this. If you go into the 2004, 2005 era, where the ABKC really took off, and we decided what the rules were for the ABKC and what would be the American Bully. Interesting fact, by the way, the American Bully name was coined and trademarked by the ABKC. So, despite all arguments of you people who are saying that y'all know what the American Bully was supposed to be, those members of us who actually were making the ABKC, we made the American Bully. Whatever your other interpretations are, and you guys who sit back and look at old pictures and pedigrees that you weren't around and you decide to try to change it on your own, come on, man. You don't have the right. And this is why I say propaganda, because I want y'all to be very aware. And like I say, this won't be one of those 5-hour ones, but I want y'all to be very aware of people who are promoting stuff for their own agenda. See, some of us are trying to follow rules and trying to make a better animal, and other ones are trying to make excuses. Other people are trying to down other people. Other people are trying to slide things in. So a lot of people that you see pushing this bulldog agenda, if you look in their yards, it's bulldogs all over their yards. But if you are a person with common sense and you can read a standard, you will see that our standard goes directly against everything that a bulldog is supposed to be. Our biggest problem in this community right now is that 99.9% of the people, including the judges, don't follow the American Bully standard. So they're pushing their agenda of bulldog on you to basically mask all of their bullshit. Because if they were breeding and showing and judging to the standard, the dogs would look totally different. The standard fits more of a dog that looks like a Remy or a Shifu, a very tight-skinned dog. You know, we have dogs today. You know, Mufasa fits the standard pretty well. You know, you have plenty of these true American bullies that have a true American bully look. The wrinkles was always an issue. For whatever reason, I don't know. Someone says it's not in the standard anymore. There was very specific writing before about wrinkly faces in the standard, but I guess that's gone too now. All of these things have been changed to fit people's agendas and try to fit certain dogs in there. It's just that simple. And I will be the first one to tell y'all I don't have an agenda when it comes to this. The American Bully at no point in time was ever meant to be a bulldog. I was there. I know what we talked about. I know what we discussed. I know what specific rules we put in to make it anti-bulldog. Now, of course, when you're breeding a dog from the bulldog family, which this dog is from the bulldog family, you will get traits every now and then. But the design of this breed, and I'm telling you from personal experience because I know, and if y'all decide to listen to people who want to feed y'all propaganda to go with their own agendas, that's on you. This breed was not ever meant to be anything bulldogish at all. Read the standard. If you were designing a dog that you wanted to have bulldog traits, you would never take away loose skin. You would never take away circular eyes. You would never take away high rears. You would never take away splayed feet. You would never take away bad top lines, which we consider bad top lines, which goes along with the high rear. And in most cases, you would never take away even Easty Westy and Cowhawk. You would let us ride a little bit, because those are traits that are prevalent in the bulldog family, and then depending on which bulldog it is, it's acceptable. You know, I've often said with Bistro, I think that Bistro could have been a good breeding tool. But when it comes to Bistro, if I was judging, Bistro could have never won a show. If you're Easty Westy and you have a bad bite, it should never be allowed. We have to have a standard. We can't keep on going back and forth and allowing certain things. You know, the same reason why a lot of people are butthurt, and that's the reason why they mad at me, and that's the reason why a lot of these clowns call themselves trying to take shots or they caught up in their feelings, is because of dogs like Beans and Rocco. I call them out for their flaws, but they're just that. You know, make it fair to everybody who's actually doing what the standard says, and stop kissing ass to people who you trying to sell dogs with. And that's what most of these judges and people running registries are doing now. They're picking sides for what's popular to sell instead of what's actually supposed to be done inside the registry. That's why a person will get butthurt when you talk about their dog having a high rear or being turned out or can't breathe or can't move. Or let's not even talk straight physical. We can talk about the mental status of some of these dogs that cower down in the ring and refuse to move. They freeze up and panic. That's not an American Bully. If the origins of this dog, and the only two dogs that this dog has actually ever been attributed to are the Staffy and the Pit Bull. If that is the origins of this dog, that is not a cowardly dog that bows down and doesn't want to move and doesn't want to. That's it. Yeah, Denzel is 9 years old now. But that's it. And at some point in time, we have to get Adam, we're working at it. But at some point in time, we have to get back to a point of what we know what our dog is. You know, the American bully is a man. Denzel is not Easty Westy. Stop with the lies. Denzel is not Easty Westy. And I'll school you on that, Ariel. When it comes down to it, if you know what an Easty Westy dog is, and Bistro shows it, when he moves forward, he kicks out. He kicks out Easty Westy. It's a difference between Easty Westy and bad posture. If you notice, and people tried to do this debate with Denzel before, was he Easty Westy? The reason why he won all those shows, including a judge who has judged, and I will repeat this to y'all, because Ryan from Titletown and several other people can tell you this. The judge that judged Denzel here in Tampa for the UBKC has actually judged the Westminster and has judged 6 different continents and is very well schooled. So if he didn't see Easty Westy, I promise you the dog is not. And he was the one who basically reaffirmed what I said about Easty Westy dogs. It's a difference. And I'll give you this analogy. When you're tired, you cock your feet one way or the other to basically to feel more comfortable when you're standing or you're sitting. Now, when you stand and you walk forward, your feet point in a natural direction. Now, if you're pigeon-toed when you walk, your feet will slant in. If you're sloop-footed when you walk, your feet will kick out. But if your feet are correctly aligned, you will walk straight forward in a straightforward path. Most people in the bully world don't understand that. Y'all look at a dog when he's standing down or when he's resting or whatever, and if he kicks one foot out, you say the dog is Easty Westy. I'll show y'all a million times. Matter of fact, it's a video on YouTube right now. All you got to do is do Hall of Fame Denzel, and you look at it. When the dog is walking forward, he walks forward naturally. Now, if he's Easty Westy, explain the magician trick of how does an Easty Westy dog, when he's traveling forward, turn his feet straight. That shit doesn't happen. But see, that's why we need more education in this breed, how to properly break a dog down. Structure. This just like you can take a picture, and if the dog has his feet up under him and is not at a proper 90-degree angle in the back, you'll say that he has a high rear. That dog doesn't have a high rear. At that point in time, at that point in time, his feet are up under him, so it might make his top line look off. But you have to put the dog in the proper position to see to see how the dog's feet or back are going. Like I say, one of the biggest problems we have, not only in our community, but even with our judges, is that you don't properly know how to break a dog down. People need to be schooled for this. That's why I went to other registries and other places and senior judges who's been doing this a long time to properly learn how to break a dog down, because we make a lot of false accusations and we miss a lot of things. Like people the eyes. The eyes are a serious flaw. And many of the dogs in our breed have screwed up eyes. It should be never a such thing as a high rear champion. The reason why, but people try to dismiss that. If your dog has a high rear, I can promise y'all this, and I'm telling y'all this, and I'm not being arrogant, but I do judge all over the world. I've been plenty of places, and I've judged with very, very respectable judges looking over my shoulders, and they said, "Good job, young man." So I feel good about saying this. I know what I'm doing. The reason why, if you look in right now through the ABKC and you see all of these champions with high rears, this tells you one thing. We have a serious problem. If a dog has a high rear, I can tell you at least 3 other things about it. The movement is going to be off on that dog. His top line is going to be off. And more than likely, he's going to be cowhawked. It's just that way. It's that. Look, Ariel, you can go back and forth. I'm going to tell you like this. If a dog's feet are turned, he doesn't walk with his feet straight. That's not even realistic. That's not even realistic. That's propaganda, brother. I've been doing this way longer than you, and I promise you that. If you think about what you're saying right now, it's a realistic fact. Not even in human beings or no animal or anywhere, if the feet are kicked out or kicked in, would they run with their feet straight ahead? I got pigeon-toed cousins. My cousin can stand and make his feet look straight, just like y'all do when y'all turn the dog's feet in the ring. But when that dude start walking, his feet turn right back in. It doesn't do that. If you actually want to see if a dog is Easty Westy, especially with our tricky handlers nowadays, all you have to do is see him move, because in his natural movement, that bone structure is going to turn those feet the way it's supposed to be. That's it. When they lift and they come down, it's no positioning. It's boom, boom, boom. So if I'm out here, I'm out here. It's just, that's the way it works. This is not one of Keno's things where you can teach the dog how to squat, or you can stop and turn the dog's feet back straight and have him hold it. That's why, as John Easterly said, and God bless his family right now, I like to say that shout out. John's mother passed, so y'all say a prayer for John's family. But John told y'all best about when he judges a dog. That's why he laughs at all that stuff, because it don't matter how you stack your dog. Once that dog starts moving, you see every single flaw. It don't matter. See, the thing is in our bully community, we the stack off community. Oh, I'm gonna stack them off. So we can see a third of the dog. We can watch y'all keep turning the feet in. We can watch y'all pull their neck straight. We can watch y'all do all this bullshit. But at the end of the day, move that bitch in a circle, and I bet you I'll break everything down the body. Move him in a circle. Let me get in front of him. See him travel towards me. You can see every bit of movement. You can see everything. Even those bold legs. Those bold legs start coming right back in where the dog's feet is coming towards each other. In the back, cowhawk, you can stack cowhawk out. When that dog start moving, you can see it come right back in. A moving dog tells a way bigger story than a dog sitting still. Y'all excuse me for stuttering. But it's just, and this is what I'm saying, and this is one of the things that I say, even in our community right now, our judges have not been properly trained. They haven't. They fall for tricks, and I don't even know if they fall for tricks or if they're doing it intentionally. But 90% of the time, I've seen them go and pick dogs, and they don't know what they're picking. They can't even pick out the flaws themselves, and possibly, it's because it's in their own yard and they're turning a blind eye to it. But Easty Westy, I'm telling y'all, ask a real judge this, and I ain't talking about none of our local hood rat judges. I'm talking about a judge that really knows dog. You judge Easty Westy in movement, not when the dog is sitting, because a dog will have bad posture. But when that dog starts moving and he naturally stacks, or he stops and you see those feet up under him, you'll see that dog's posture. Because all that, the top line, everything, it's no way to cheat that. That's why that's the most important thing, and that's why it disgusts me when I watch a lot of these judges judge and they let people run around the ring and they don't even look at the person's dog. All they did is watch the dog stack, and then they go to the next dog while the person is running around the ring. It's crazy. It's crazy. If you moving Rye, that's his real structure. When he moves, that's his real structure. Not how you stack him, not how you touch him. Whatever he moves like, that's what the dog is. And that's what I'm saying. We might be on the same thing, but the thing of it is wherever he moves and however he stops naturally, that's when you start picking off the flaws. What you can't in a real setting where you're trying to pick the flaws out on a dog, you don't even touch the dog. See, us touching the dog is an unnatural thing. Us touching and primping and curling and pulling his neck up and all that. No, you got to get that dog in the free stack. The free stack is the realest stack of them all. Move that baby, get him alert, make those ears point up, make him look at something. Maybe it's a nice little chick in front of him or whatever. But let me see how you really are without this human being trying to put his touch and his mold on you. Let me see what you're really made of. Whatever you see in motion on a dog, that's what that dog is. Once that dog stops and stands freely, that's what that dog is. You'll get a way better picture from a free stack. In our community, we too used to doing the stack off thing, and then even when we're in the ring, we touch them too much. It's too much touching. If y'all ever notice this, when these dogs are in the ring, especially American Bully ring, it's constant adjustments to the dog. Those adjustments are not because the dog isn't paying attention most of the time. Those adjustments are because the handler is trying to manipulate this dog's actual form to trick the judge. And I've seen it done plenty of times. I know one individual in particular that I've even seen her twist the dog's neck and basically put the dog in a little bit of pain so he cower down and it flattens out the top line. I've seen that. I've seen people also put extra pressure on the neck and put a knee to the side of the hip to make the dog cower down on the top line. I've seen all of these things to try to hide the flaws. That's why you always see somebody twisting and turning the feet back to try to reset the feet. I'm going to reset the feet. I'm going to reset the feet. If the feet was right, you wouldn't have to keep on pushing reset. The damn dog would just be standing there naturally and feeling comfortable. The reason why the dog keeps moving is because you having the dog stand in an unnatural position. So he's in pain a little bit. It's a discomfort. That's like just telling you to stand with your feet kicked out for long enough, your damn hips gonna start hurting. But instead of us actually fixing the structural issues with these dogs, we try to make excuses. We try to change everything around to fit our low standards instead of raising the bar up. No, we weren't supposed to have bulldogs in this breed. Every dog that resembles a bulldog in this breed is not an American bully. I don't care where it came from or whatever, the dog should be disqualified. To this day, loose skin should be a disqualification. If it's not a DQ, it's just serious fall. High rears, 90% of these dogs have high rears now. And the reason why 90% of these dogs have high rears now is because somebody thought it was cute to bring Dax and those dogs in that had high rears and make a class for them. Now they've infiltrated every other standard, and the judges are trained basically to get by on the high rear. If you go back 10 years, and some of y'all don't go back 10 years even though y'all act like y'all do, the dogs didn't have these high rears like that. Most of these dogs weren't cowhawk 10 years ago. A bad bite was a bad issue. Like, we knew every dog that had a bad bite, it seemed like. They're like, oh, Gargoyle got a bad bite. Thing got a bad bite. You knew every damn dog that had a bad bite. The tail issue was so crazy that you literally knew every dog that had a bad tail. And you started looking around to see if it was an issue. Thing got destroyed for his eye shape. Thing literally got destroyed for his eye shape. This is the thing. Not all Dax dogs have had a bad rear, but it's well into their DNA. That's a proven fact. I've seen some beautiful Dax dogs. I've seen a blue and white female down here in Florida a few years back that was just incredible. But her DNA still says high rear and bad hips. Not to mention bad hips, but heart murmurs. And you have to go by the numbers. This breeding dogs is very analytical. And I do that. I do that in my program. If I notice one thing is popping up too many times that I don't like, I have to find the source of it. It's in their DNA. DNA is nothing but a bunch of numbers. So if a dog, say Dax, who has thrown a very high percentage of high rears, if you have this blood in your program and you keep on putting that into your program, you're never going to shake the high rear issue in your program. Eventually, you have to either totally eliminate it or pray to God that you have some strong genes that'll fix it. If you keep on putting it in there, it's going to keep on going in there. We have this theory that we can put in one feature, and y'all know I done talked about this a million times, but my favorite thing that we talk about is, I added Dax for the neck and the shoulders. So you just had some magical way of just getting the neck and the shoulders and minus the high rear and the sway back and the heart murmurs and every other issue that came along with the dog. This is why I say we have to educate ourselves as breeders. Have I ever bred a dog with a high rear? The dog I bred with a high rear for sure was Little Ro. Little Ro had a high rear. And that breeding didn't work out. But Little Ro, sometimes when you breed a dog like that, you look and you see how much they throw it. Little Ro didn't have a horrible habit of throwing high rears, so I felt comfortable with it. Plus, Little Ro just was a damn producer, so I took that chance. But, over the years, I'll be honest, before I jump off here, I've elevated my standards over the years. Because now I'm at the point now to where if a dog is like easty, westy, any of these issues, I flat out try to avoid them. What's up, Thomas? And I just try to find a better dog. Sometimes it takes a lot of research. And there's plenty of very good dogs out there, and they're not all hype dogs. That's another thing that we have to get away from. Everybody wants to breed to the same dog because it has a big name. And it's plenty of quality dogs out there that just don't have a big name. It's plenty of quality dogs that people don't even, halfway advertise or care to breed because it's just their dog. But if you're looking for a certain blood, what's up, Tim? You have to breed for the blood, and you have to breed for certain qualities. Um, I'm going to do a video about that, and it's a longer video because it's not something that's all on me, but it's something that I've been studying and something I've been learning with genetics about the analytics and the percentages of what you do. And I'm a very strong believer that everything is analytics. I mean, damn near everything in this world. You can it's a math equation to everything. And one of the things that they talked about with genetics is, if you're a breeder, you should be very analytical about the flaws and the good qualities in a pedigree. And we all do pedigrees, but the funniest part about it is if you ask a person about their pedigree, 90% of the time, if you ask them about the number of kink tails in the first 3 generations, the number of bad bites in the first generation, the number of this in the generation or that in the generation, then oh man, Curly, let's hope, man. Calves in 5. But man, it's all analytics. So whatever style you're doing, you should be breeding these things, and you should know 3-4 generations what you're working with. And if you have one or two many things pop up on that paperwork, you're supposed to not breed to it. And I've actually got this from a world-class German Shepherd breeder, and he told me that. He said there's plenty of breedings that he had to X out because it was features there or qualities there that he just had to X out. As much as he loved the breeding, when he started doing his number count and he saw certain things that he didn't like too many, he was a breeder who shot, he's not dead, but he's a breeder that shoots for excellent hips. And in his pedigree, he saw too many good hips and not enough excellent hips. And he had to totally rearrange the breeding because he wanted more excellent hips. I don't like Magoo. I don't like Magoo. I mean, the reality of it with Magoo, a lot of people think I like Magoo because he has my blood in there. But I think he sort of messed up my blood. Magoo doesn't have the best hips. Magoo doesn't have the best top line. And it's a lot of issues with Magoo that I wouldn't ever want to have a part of my program. To be totally honest with y'all, and this is just being honest, I've had the opportunity for no cost at all to breed to Magoo. I had cash pot studs offered to me several times. I've had a lot of dogs offered to me. I mean, as of today, I had a guy that was ready to send me $2,500, to breed to one of my dogs, to a Miyagi dog, and I told him no. I would have liked to have the $2,500, but if I don't agree with it, I won't breed to it, because at the end of the day, I talk a lot of shit. And I believe in the shit that I talk. And I just want, to me, I believe that the breed has been sold out. Curly, I think muzzle and top skull and stop are very important. But I do believe too, because I do like a more cheekier dog with a nice muzzle, but I don't like the super short muzzle. But I do also believe that there is a place for dogs who have a more pit bull look, because it's never been super defined that the dogs had to have a certain head shape, and that's something that we have to leave to a variable. If the skin is tight, that was described, but snipey muzzle, no. But some dogs have a bully look, but they still have a pit bull look. And I don't think that they should ever be disqualified for that. I've seen dogs with 25-inch heads, literally, and they have a pit bull look still in the face. You can see more of their pit bull traits. I don't think you count that against them. And when we were discussing the standard, they didn't. Corrupt was corrupt. Corrupt would have never been a good American bully, but I have seen some dogs that I like off of him. Corrupt's aesthetics were all off. Corrupt's chest was as wide as his back was long, and he had them crystal meth eyes where the eyes was all big. Corrupt was a producer, but he wasn't easy on the eyes, I'll tell you that much. But I mean, the more we talk about these dogs, man, we have to get consistent. The reason why we argue so much right now is because there's no real direction in this breed. It's a shame that here we are 13 years later after the conception of our breed. And, we still have problems. Yeah, yeah, corrupt was long as shit. We still have problems understanding. We still have the debate of what is an American bully, and I think that's where we've been let down by the registries, because that was supposed to be defined. We're well over a decade into having registered American bullies, and we still don't know exactly what an American bully is. And we hear terms like the breed is evolving and changing, and that's just a bunch of bullshit, you know. I love Easy Rider Blood. I love Mufasa. And I'm sorry, I was looking. This screen goes crazy over here, and I wasn't watching the YouTube screen as much, so I'll go back in and type those later. But Mufasa is a beautiful dog. If I had things to change on Mufasa, which with every dog you do, he would be more compact. But he's my style of dog because he's big, he's impressive. And one of the most impressive things about Mufasa, I would definitely tighten up the face some. Like his brother's face is almost perfect to me. But one of the things that I think Romeo, yeah, one of the most impressive things about Mufasa is that he has a true American bully attitude. You can, if y'all have never experienced it or seen Mufasa in the ring, I tell you, it's an amazing thing. I've seen him basically turn several other dogs into bitches, including Mr. Beans. You can see the dogs start to cower down, and the more the other dogs cowered down, and it wasn't even stacking them all face to face, but he has a presence about him to where when he walks in, he's a true American bully. You put that dog on a leash, and he pretty much is just like, I mean, he flexes on them, he stares them down. I love him. Yeah, well, Denzel is down to his last stud for public sale. He actually has a really good semen count right now, and I'm just freezing the hell out of him because he is old. I face those facts. Yeah, he's old, so yeah, we're down to the last public stud that I'm gonna sell off of him, and the rest of his time is gonna be getting froze. And with Denzel, the reason why it's important for me to freeze him is all of the breedings that I'm doing now, which some of them do include Mufasa and his daddy, who I love to death. Those breedings are for Denzel 2 or 3 years down the line, where I take the frozen and I run that back to some big bitches to try to recreate Hallie. And plus, I really want a bigger dog. He's nice, but I really like his brother Biggie a lot more. Biggie's 100 pounds, a lot bigger, a lot thicker, and that's my type of dog. That's why I've been using bigger studs. Sean, crazy. I mean, y'all just inbox me about the studs, and we'll see what's going on there. But it's, we have to do better regardless. I tell y'all one thing: if y'all looking for studs, it's studs like one I used from the Remy family, Recon. Recon is a beautiful dog that doesn't get what he's supposed to get. The credit he's supposed to get. And a lot of the Remy dogs have disappeared because Fabian sold Remy. Fabian sold Remy line out. So a lot of the Remy dogs have went under the underground. But it's still a lot of good, very, very good Remy blood out there. It's a lot of very, very good Excalibur blood out there. And my favorite of all time, Kamali. If you look in the right places, you can still get some of the Kamali blood. The hardest blood that I've ever tried to find. I did look. People think I hate Gotti blood. I don't like the new Gotti blood, but I love the old Gotti gray line look. And they're hard to find nowadays. I've contacted a lot of people, and I just can't get it. I will be up that way, Justin. I don't have no problem stopping through. But it's just so many beautiful dogs, and I think the biggest problem that I have in our community right now is you have a lot of people. Y'all see my homie on there, Bobo, and how many dogs are in my yard right now? Okay, I'll answer that. I'm bouncing back and forth. In my yard right now, I have 15. I have 15 dogs currently. And I actually cut down from 25. A lot of my dogs were getting older, and I need to get rid of them. And I decided to start breeding again this year. So I'm restocking, and I plan on keeping 15 to 20 puppies this year coming up off of a lot of badass dogs mixed in with my blood to sort of give us a boost and come back with some 90 to 100 pound bullies. But like I was saying with Bobo and a lot of the other people out there, man, it's people still doing this thing the right damn way, you know. And I don't got no damn 60 dogs, man. And the people, this is it. I'm not gonna bite my tongue, and like I said, I always go longer than I thought I would. I was gonna go, but you know, our community has just been sold out. Just like Fabian sold out the breed. You know, I feel like Dave hasn't done shit for Razor's Edge in a long time, and he didn't represent it. And in many ways, I agree with people that it seems like he's turned his back on the true Razor's Edge dogs. You know, I know privately he does things to support the breed, but the Razor's Edge blood, but he doesn't go out and push it. You know, and you see this across the board where people are going for fads and they're turning their back on the American Bully, the dogs who made the American Bully popular. And it's a damn shame, because at the end of the day, the breed is being erased. You know, you can only push dogs so far towards exotic before they're exotics. And the sad part about it is that all of the dogs are being pushed towards exotics now. So if everybody's being pushed towards exotics, where does that leave us at in the American Bully community? And I told y'all 6 years ago, if you look on my videos, that this breed was going to split into two different breeds, and pretty much it has. And I've made it no secret that I am working on doing something with my own registry. And you know, my registry is going to be dedicated to the true American Bully. Yes, you can have 100-pound pockets as long as they're clean. I don't care. You can have big, powerful, super bully standards. I don't care. As long as I want them to be bullied. I'm still a bully guy. I love big bone. I love gigantic shoulders. I love those short backs, those big heads with the cheeks. I love all of that. But the dog has to be clean. The dog has to be functional. The dog has to represent the true essence of what an American Bully is. I still want dogs that can jump up and grab the spring pole from time to time. Dogs that can go out when it's actually sunlight out there. And at some point in time, we have to get back to what the essence of the American Bully is. I really do believe that it's time now. I don't know how many of y'all agree with me, but we will soon find out. But we need a registry that's dedicated to the true American Bully. We need a registry that's dedicated to health and taking our breed to the next level. It cannot continue to be a breed that is a popularity contest. We cannot keep on seeing, you know, who's popular, your dog will win. You know, let's change the rules if this dog gets popular. This is, you're right. No more fat dogs. Fat is not bully. We need to get back to the point to where Remy line dogs. I keep saying Remy line dogs because that was one of my favorite dogs. But that look should not be deterred away. You know, I hear people always just say, oh, that's old school. And there's nothing old school about the dogs that are still living that look like Remy. They're 90-pound dogs with beautiful head pieces, great structure that can move and actually will bite the shit out of your ass. What's old school about that? That's a real dog. We have to get back to this point. And I think that certain people have made their minds up. You know, Kev Green has made up his mind as to what type of dog that they want over there at their registry. The ABKC has said it's fine to have Mr. Beans and Rocco as their poster boys. And when my registry does hit the scene, we will say that it's fine to bring your Remy line dogs and bring your D line dogs and bring your Mufasas and bring your, you know, true American Bullies. And we would judge strictly to the standard. And I think that's the only way that our breed goes forward. I don't care about anybody's opinions. I don't care about anybody's anything. Our standard will not change. That's why it's taking me a little longer, because we basically go bouncing ideas like a committee. Because once this standard is locked in, I feel like that I owe it to our community to make sure that you guys know what the standard is and you can breed to this and plan out 10 years. And I promise you, you won't see anything change. Whatever this standard is, this standard will pretty much be the same exact standard. We won't one day decide that we want Merles. That's not what we do. We won't decide one day that kink tails are okay and you can champ out a dog with kink tails. Kink tails is a disqualification. I can tell you that right now. It always has. It always will be. Exactly, no wavering. We're not changing for popularity. What we're doing is we're trying to stabilize the breed and make this breed an actual breed to where when you say what's an American bully, at least you'll have one good example and know what the dog looks like and know what we should be trying to do. I don't, and I don't care whose feelings get hurt or whatever. It's not a popularity contest. I don't care how much you sell dogs for. None of that matters. I'm not in this shit for money, or I would have took all of the money that was being thrown at me this weekend. It was weird. I think they were trying to catch me into something because I had 7 dogs, literally, Bullseye and Miyagi, that called me about studs. So I think it was a setup going on or some shit. Maybe he will take the money. I'm dead serious. I laugh, but I mean it. I never had that many people hit me up knowing that I don't mess with them dogs, and they did it. What's my honest opinion on Zulu and Taz? Well, I've always said that Taz is, man, one of the nicest XLs I've ever seen, and I like Zulu a lot. I like Zulu a lot. I think they're true American bullies. And I don't have time to break them each and everything. I think the one thing I've always said about Taz is if I could do anything with Taz, I would keep everything about Taz and make his face just about an inch pushed in, and he would be perfect for me. But I love those dogs, honestly. I mean, everything. I see my dude Eric Williams just jumped in, and we're gonna have the pleasure of having him come aboard and help us try to fix this situation. We want good dogs. That's all we want. We want good dogs, and we want dogs that y'all feel are American bullies, that we all know are American bullies. We want those dogs that have the look, have the tight skin, have the big cheeks, and are muscular, not fat, ugly dogs. We want muscles, we want attitude, and not a bad attitude, but we want our dogs to actually show signs of life. I mean, if you ever seen, and this is not even trying to be funny, but if you've ever seen an old school American bully ring compared to this new school shit, it was 2 totally different worlds. The old dogs, now yeah, you can't bring your steroids, but the old dogs were very alert. It was sort of tense in the ring. It wasn't terrible like game dogs or anything, but it was tense. These dogs had attitude. These dogs had drive. You could see it in them. Like, that's why when you see old pictures of Remy, he's always pulling at that leash because he was always ready to do something. And now in the ring, we literally see dogs hanging their heads and having to be pulled and looking all nervous. They don't want to be there. They shitting in the ring. That shit's sad, man. That's not an American bully. We want to put the true bully back in bully. We want to bring back athleticism. And that's why several of my shows that I'm doing, do you think if you met Denzel with one of those other dogs? No, I don't think. That's why I've never believed that a good dog helps a bad dog. And it goes back to the analytics thing. It's no such thing as a 150-pound pit bull, by the way, especially not 200-pound. But they need to stop that shit. But I believe in eliminating flaws. I don't believe in trying to fix flaws. Now, if it's very minor, yes, you try to correct those things. But when you talk about dogs like Miyagi, it's nothing Denzel can do for Miyagi. Miyagi's elbows literally pop out of place. And if y'all haven't seen that, we'll see tomorrow. We're going to talk about that on the show tomorrow, and I got to do better at posting the link. But, that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate in, man, the Ed Shepherd Miyagi situation. That's the ultimate, because George is caught red-handed several times. Man, I love Omen, big bad boy. I love all. Most Edge dogs, I'm gonna love them. That's my family. But before I go, and I'm definitely gotta go, but the situation with George, we're gonna go on that more. Over his career, George has been caught red-handed doing so much shiesty shit in this community, and these people still applaud him, go along with him, and rep Miyagi blood. It's amazing. I remember specifically when one of his ex-partners sent me a whole list of emails and actually sent me the pictures to verify that this was real. It was all in line. It was nothing made up, about him bragging that he sends people French bulldog semen, and he sends people miniature bulldog semen if he doesn't like them, and all these other things. Then John this week comes out and he puts up the many pictures of Miyagi, and if you're looking at the dogs, you can see that these dogs are different dogs. You can see the different markings. Now George puts up a picture like, oh yeah, y'all said Miyagi doesn't have brown cheeks. No, well, which Miyagi? Do I think Miyagi is still alive? That was a question. Yeah, Miyagi the 18th, because the first Miyagi been dead. Then when you came along with this other Miyagi who had a mark that came up into the shoulder, almost a white mark that came up into the shoulder, he died evidently, because now we have the Miyagi who all of a sudden is a tri. They say George, who says Miyagi doesn't have tri markings in his face? George, there's fucking 53 pictures before this one when he didn't have tri markings. Now all of a sudden the dog has tri markings and wears sweaters and shit to cover up his white markings. But people still go along with this. And this is one of the problems in our community. If we can't be real and be real about our dogs, and that's why I don't want to be a part of that anymore. I just want to create a whole separate community where we don't have to argue dumb shit like that. The man is putting the dog on. Well, in my registry, every dog has to be DNA. When you register your dog, you do not have to DNA your dog, but before you register a litter, both parents need a DNA profile or we won't register the litter. And that's just that simple. I feel like nobody should have a problem doing that if you don't have anything to hide. I feel like if you're going to sell people dogs for $1,000 to $5,000 to whatever you sell them for, they deserve that honesty to know that, hey, this is the dog. This is the dog. And I don't understand why the ABKC has avoided this for years. I do understand, but it's sad. We could have fixed a lot of our problems in our community if it was a mandatory DNA testing years ago. Our next phase, we're not starting off with this, but one of the things I will tell you is this, and it's two things that I wrote in on my registry also. We will not champ out. Well, this is the reason, Jason. Genetic testing is not that universal yet. And it's something that we will eventually incorporate genetic testing within the next 3 years. But right now, I don't want to overwhelm people. And we start off with tying in the gene pool. Then once we get the gene pool tied in, we will go specifically to issues that the judges can't see. We want to do it in a process because we don't want to overwhelm people. We understand that people are not rich. And we don't want people to just have to go through everything right now. But Jason, I promise you, my brother, and I know you're the biggest advocate, somewhere within these next 3 years it will be put on the menu that we do recommend or make it mandatory to have genetic health testing. Now another thing we're going to do is we are going to all champions have to be pin hipped. I need to know before I sign off on anything for any dog to be a champion. I need to be able to sign off that this dog has good hips. And people say, well, why the hips? Why the hips? It also has to have a health certificate. The cardiovascular system and the heart, you need to send in a health certificate from your vet stating that your dog is free of heart murmurs and has a clean cardiovascular system, and that the dog has at least a fair, and it should be good, but we say at least a fair hip rating. Because if these are champion dogs that's going to represent the breed, they need to represent the breed at least a level that you have fair. And that we're gonna get into that heavy, Jason. See, that's college shit. That's master's degree when we start going into percentages of the breed and all that. But that's what it's all about. Our attempts are going to be to make a home and make a good even playing field, and bring some real true life standards to this breed. I think the UKC, you know what? I think the UKC is starting to do the right thing, but this is the thing about the UKC. They're not us. They don't have the same culture as us. They don't do their shows the same way. So I think that's why they're sort of sputtering, because our people aren't used to the format that they do shows in. We want bully shows, whereas they do all breed shows. And it's not the same, and it's not any banners, and it's not any, the party type atmosphere that we have. And that's why, UKC is probably going to remain behind, but I am glad that they're doing better. Well, Casey, we talked about that and it got voted down, but I thought it was a good idea. You know, that was the original thing, that if you couldn't have a litter unless the dog was titled. And we talked about that, and I guess one of the reasons that got voted out is because of someone like Mr. Pratt's. Mr. Pratt doesn't show his dogs for good reason. He's a very busy man. He's got businesses left and right. And I know a lot of people who are successful that don't have time to do whatever as far as the show ring goes. But that's why we sort of voted it down. But you hit a point there, KC, because that's the origins of dog shows. Back in the day, for those that don't know, the original dog shows, if your dog didn't champ, you weren't allowed to breed the dog. And the judges were really, really serious judges. So that's how they basically cultivated every breed and made sure that the stock was great, because then we didn't have DNA testing, and well, not we, I wasn't even living, but they didn't have DNA testing and different things like that. Tell Danny I'm gonna give him a ring. We gonna wrap. But the AKC, I'm gonna tell you the truth, Mike, and this probably be one of the last things I talk about. I keep saying that, but the AKC will never accept us. Some of the judges that I relied on, some of the judges that I heavily relied on as mentors and ways to get this thing going. KC, we're gonna push it towards there eventually. I just don't want to overwhelm people right off top. But trust me, it was discussed. I was the one pushing it, and the guy said let's hold off. So I respect what everybody's saying. But the AKC community is serious about their dogs. And when I've discussed this with one pretty well-ranking AKC person, the biggest problem they said that we have with them ever accepting our dogs is, what is our dogs? What do we have? What is an American bully? Because when they open up and they look for American bullies, they see everything from Miyagi to Mufasa. And that's why I say we have to truly establish our breed before we can go forward and start talking about any other community accepting us. We have to truly establish what we're doing at home first, and then present the product to the rest of the world. Right now, the American bully is lost. We don't know what it is. It's too many dogs, and it has to be very, 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 very established. And some of the things that they will never allow, some of the things that they will never allow is these hip issues and health issues and multiple different looks. And we have to get it very, very micronized down to being something very consistent, and then it'll still be 20, 25, 30 years before it took some breeds a long time to get recognized. And I don't even, ultimately my goal is this: for us to be able to compete with those dogs. And one of the things I'm doing, and I'm going to close this thing out because I do have to hit the gym and put the baby to bed. But I'll tell you what, I don't too much care to be a part of the AKC community, although I do admire their dogs and I do take my trip to Westminster and all that. But the one thing I do want to do is for our community to make dogs that can compete with their dogs. I want to see a show ring of an American bullies that can go and beat AKC dogs in confirmation shows, that we can match our standard good enough that even their judges will say, well, shit, you deserve to win if that was the case. And one of the things, and I'll talk more and more about this so I don't give up all of my secrets, I am in my plans putting together an invitational, and I've already made a couple contacts to where at one of our invitationals at my registry per year, we will have several dogs that come from the AKC, and we will have several dogs that come from some other registries from different places. There'll be special invites, and that's more so of a fun show at that time, but it will give our best dogs an opportunity to compete against their best dogs with a non-biased judge. It won't be a bully judge. It won't be a judge from any of the registries they're at. It's just a judge that will understand confirmation and know how to judge it. But I really do want to see us get that serious. That, oh man, Eric Bison been ready. But that's the cool part, Eric, for real. That's the cool part, to where our American bullies can go and be in the same ring with poodles and whatever dog that they feel like could win the German Shepherd from Westminster this year. And I feel like that we have dogs that can compete. We just have to get rid of all the garbage in our community. We cannot say that we're a community that is ready to compete on the highest level with dogs when we have dogs with kink tails, bulging eyes, high rears, and bad top lines winning national shows. That will never work for us. We have to get better, and we will get better. And I thank y'all for listening to my mouth. Tomorrow night's show, we're going to talk, basically tomorrow night's show is about the sellouts. And we're going to go in because it's a bully rant, but we're going to talk about how the American bully community has been sold out from top to bottom, and some of the things you see about these people forcing these bulldog traits and different things on you. And I'll break down with facts how the actual standard tells you opposite of what's coming out of their mouth. And then I might even take a couple peeks into their Facebook pages and show you how they breeding to the dogs that they say are supposed to be winning, even though they go against the standard. But once again, it's Sunday night. I thank y'all for giving me an hour of y'all time. God bless. And please, y'all, if y'all have time tonight, when you hit your knees, say a prayer for John Easterly and his family and everybody who's battling cancer. Hopefully we get this thing beat one day. Much love. Peace.